Hey guys, still there. We're looking at a game that Pilot124 sent in. I'm gonna call him Pilot from hence on. He sent this game in. It's a 3v3 and he's using a West German armor deck. So we can expect quite a few leopards in this match. He said that the game started as a 3v3 but it quickly turned into a 2v3 with him getting a 2v1. So that means that he is going to be doing or taking on two players on his flank. And later on, it's probably going to be even worse because one of the team members decided to leave just after starting. So it's going to be that 3v2 situation that he described. Now it's a large map and quite a lot of open territory. So this means that tanks can both do very well and are pretty easy to pick off due to very easy ATGM positions, which have a lot of good coverage over the field. So personally, I probably wouldn't take a unit or a deck like an armored deck in this kind of map, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how Pilot's going to make this work. Let's see, we have markers are pretty hard to see for me. I believe this is Pilot. He's going to go towards the middle of the map in Echo. Strauss is going left and Archeon is going right, but one of these guys is going to drop. Right now though, we have quite a few units spawning in the middle here. But Juliet seems pretty undefended. There's just nothing spawning there. So Strauss is asking, okay guys, who is going to go there? And so far, no one's picking up the tab yet. And meanwhile, it looks like Pilot is not going anywhere yet. He's deployed... Yep, he's probably going to switch... Yep, he's switching to the other side. He deployed one recon helicopter, one Gepard, and an Iltis command vehicle. Put his fob in the woods there. I think it's pretty far back, but then again, if you have an enemy who doesn't really like to mess around, he can always try and spot your fob from the flank here, destroy it, and cost you 16,000 supplies. He's deploying a lot of forces quickly. Seeing Martyrs pop in, ATV units, AA units, fire support groups, Martyr 2s. The only thing I'm not seeing yet are the tanks, but he's probably going to spawn those in later. Another Martyr 2 group, Panzer Grenadiers, another Martyr 2. Two Flak Panzer Gepards, one A2 and one A1 version. Let's see, yep, nothing from him is spawning on the other flank. And here come the tanks, Leopard 2A1, Leopard 2, Leopard 2. Seems to be reconsidering, let's skip this up a bit. There we go. Big jam of vehicles. You can see the Martyr 2s here. Leopard 2A1, I believe. Leopard 2s. I believe the only visual difference between the 2A1 in this game and the 2 is that the 2A1 has a bit of camo paint on it, whereas the Leopard 2 is just pretty damn factory stock. We have some Martyr 1A3s, I think. Let's see. Martyr 2s. Here, Martyr 1A3. As well as some more Martyr 2s. And we got the initial airstrike coming in, which is just an air superiority fighter getting shot down by the Gepards. Okay, they've taken command of this zone, but they're not secure yet. These vehicles still have to make their way into safer positions. Looks like he's moving his entire force towards this block of buildings where I would deploy my AA infantry and AT vehicles or AT infantry. Put some tanks along this line, possibly recon in this position, which still counts as cover. And meanwhile we got Archeon landing with a TACOM over here. He has only a Kiowa and some vehicles are coming up, but it's not a lot. And look at that, 2 T-72BUs, this is going to be impressive. What do they have to counter that? Because a Leopard 2 has 15 frontal armor and 16 penetration. That means that the T-72BU has multiple advantages. Medium optics, of course, 22 frontal armor and 23 armor penetration. So it can pretty much, depending on the range, two-shot a Leopard 2. And that's not the only problem, because look at this. T-72 MIMs. These look like transports. BTRs, I think. They just don't have enough reconnaissance here yet. They do have one helicopter. And this helicopter is hovering well above the tree line, so we can see anything that's going to cross this field. Another push on the left flank, and the middle seems pretty quiet. There goes the Leopard 2. T-72's BU's got the better of him. One-shotting at Bradley there, not really surprising. Bradley trying to get a missile lock on a transport here. I think that Kilogram might be using this transport to draw out HEGM fire, so that his tanks don't have to. Transport got taken out by the Abrams. Tornado IDS going in for a bombing run, but it's never going to do a lot of damage against something like a T-72 BU. It might stun them a little. Unfortunately, he lost that plane. It's going down right here. I lost another Leopard. Definitely want to have more reconnaissance here. Even though this helicopter is here, it's hovering low, it does not have a good line of sight. Make sure you have reconnaissance here, guys. If you don't, you're going to be sneaked up upon. And if they really wanted to, they could try to do a helo rush along this flank, take down the helicopter, and you'd have a lot of problems in Juliet. And meanwhile, these T-72 BUs are making a mess of the forces that are still operating here. Milans are going out to reach out and touch this transport, which got killed off by the Milan 2s there. Milan 2s might have a good side shot on these T-72 BUs, but unfortunately one mortar there already died. A lot of Deckungsgruppe here. Seems like this was not really too coordinated, because they have a lot of forces here, but nothing in the sense of longer range HEGM. Fighting Falcon going up, dropping some rock eyes on them, and it looks like it's going to get away with it. No, it just got shot down there. Nighthawk coming in. That might get hit by the MiG-25. Yep, Nighthawk going down. They're donating a lot of points here. Missile going in, hitting the MiG-25, but it made it out alive. Archeon surrenders. I think Archeon was the one who was operating here. And yep, it looks like Pilot just got all of those units. This is always a pretty crappy situation, because now you have to reorient yourself around the battlefield, because you suddenly have a lot of forces that you didn't have initially. It means more management, and more management means less focus on a specific area of the battle. He probably doesn't even know that he has these Humvees here. In the meanwhile, we got Strauss, who is still defending this position. We got a couple of Humvees, which seem to be taking some shots at these transports, but there's not really anything too serious going on here. You can see that pushing up along these lines is going to be really difficult with these HEGM vehicles, and sorry, not HEGM vehicles, but HEGM infantry in this position. They are wasting a lot of missiles though, and they're now out of Super Dragons. They also seem to be completely devoid of AA units. They have one Chaparral and one DAP against a VP there. DAP is just going balls in and shooting it down. And there's another helicopter already on the way, just an Mi-4. They still have to shoot this thing down in order not to have them engage all that infantry down there. Now let's head back over to the other flank. It seems that Kilogram is still just trying to probe the lines here, seeing what is where and how to kill it. I doubt that these things are actually carrying anything. Yeah, they're just empty transports. They're just there as HEGM magnets, which is a pretty effective strategy, because it means that sooner or later Pilot here is going to run out of missiles, and these missiles are very, very heavily required in order to deal with the heavy threats, not something like an MTLBV there. So good choice there, turning off the Milan F2 and having the Leopard 2A1 take out the target. Problem though, they're getting spotted, or they were, and he's not moving them. And meanwhile, he's losing forces here. This was probably those last couple of Humvees that Archeon called in before he decided to surrender. We got some cavalry scouts here engaging with Strelkies. Twin Huey looks like they're going to support with their miniguns. They're already in the building, shaken up, but they're there. As Strauss is putting a Command A1 in position here. I wonder if the Red Fort can see that. No, they don't know what that it's there yet. But that's a pretty easy target considering the weak middle flank that they have here. There's just nothing here to defend against anything. At the same time, it would be pretty easy for Pilot here to use his Kiowa and spot whatever is coming across this field. Now, so far the teams are very, very tight. 1195 for Red 4, 1200 for Blue 4, of which 1100 points are made by Strauss. It looks like Strauss is about to have his hands full here. A couple of BMP 685s, Strelas, Victorias, Motostrelkies, and an assortment of transports, all pushing in on these light riflemen, which are already out of missiles. Which means that they're not going to be very effective at taking out these transports. The Navy SEALs can only engage with their stoners, not even with their grenade launcher yet. Again, a Command Leopard here, or sorry, Command M1 here from Strauss. Strauss bringing in a longbow to counter that threat. And, yeah, we got a lot of activity going on here. Red Force pushing heavily on Pilot here. There's still one T-72BU. I don't think they killed the other one. Well, just spread them out a little bit, which is wise. Pilot, there you go. Motostrelkies are pushing up. Quite a few of those. And these riflemen are in a pretty bad position. The problem is that the Martyrs can provide a lot of effective fire support here and deal with the Motostrelkies. But the T-72BUs just have to shoot at them once and these mortars are down. Well, they just managed to survive, skin of their teeth. But they can only do that once. There you go, that's one mortar down. ATGMs are flying in from the Mortar 1A3s. Got blown up, lost one group of infantry there. The riflemen from Archeon are dead. But now we have Panzer Grenadiers and Deckungsgruppe here. They're engaging the infantry with their Carl Gustavs. I'm surprised this mortar's still alive, really. ATGM's going in. You can see that the teams are still very, very close together. 15-15 versus 15-10. Group are taking fire from the T-80BVs, the T-72BU there as well. They still don't have anything to kill that off with. Let's see if that longbow is still alive. That would be the perfect weapon to start mashing up these T-72BUs. But there is, if it's still there, a Tunguska. Yeah, Tunguska M. Long-range Sackloss missiles. Those things can be really deadly. At any rate, Pilot survived and held this position. He's going to be facing another onslaught probably again soon. These guys are getting spotted. That's bad news. What is spotting them? Just a couple of spotters pretty far forward. Good positioning there by Warhawk 101. Let's see. Pilot here does not have a lot of recon. He has a bit of reconnaissance on the right flank. These BGS though are too far back. I would put these as far forward as possible. Let's say somewhere along this position would be better. Because right now they're not spotting that much. Over on the middle he has no reconnaissance. And over on the left, again, no recon. Pilot, make sure you have your reconnaissance in order. Because they can see you and you cannot see them. That's not where you want to be in a battle like this. In the meanwhile, on the left flank, Strauss has done a very good job at holding this flank. He is still there with most of his forces, although I'm not sure these are still the same guys that were there initially. Looks like he had to chopper in some new forces. And instead, they're now starting to push on Charlie. The Command Abrams is moving around, possibly trying to get into cover. I hope he's not going to use that as an actual main battle tank. Twin Hueys coming in. Looks like they're going to bring in some small troops. Lots and lots of firepower going in from the Hueys. One of them got shot down. And we got a couple of M113s just casually parked there in the field, providing some fire support with their machine guns. T-80 taking fire from a Bradley. Bradley fired but missed. Or it hit the tank and it did quite a bit of damage. Cavalry scouts engaging and managed to kill off a 685 BMP there. Bradley's pushing into this forest as deep as possible. As these... What's the tank firing at even? It seems to want to try and hit this landed helicopter, but it's not doing a very good job at it. There you go, now it got it. We're at first leading by a meager 15 points, so it's still a very, very equal match. Bradley fired, hit the tank, almost finished it off. But considering the tank was able to fire back, they must have some sort of recon here. No, no recon. Quite surprising. And that double tap, that was a longbow. You can just see that thing right there. Couple of choppers coming in, MI4 AVs. These are sort of your poor man's gunship. A couple of rocket pods on them. A couple of Mayotka Ps. Not really anything too interesting. But there's not any AA here aside from that chaperone. The DAP that's operating here. So if they wanted to, they could pretty effectively push into this position and start raining death on the infantry here. Not sure why Strauss is pushing like this. Seems to be a bit early, considering that his AA hasn't arrived yet. He's paying for it. DAP is engaging. I love how this DAP is being aggressive as it is. Just pushing right in, firing stingers, and not really hitting anything. It's out of stingers, it's probably going to back off now. Yeah, it's slowly pulling back. M1IPs took some damage, but they're still there. They seem to be doing okay. Even an M1A2 from Strauss pushing up. And I'm covering this flank mostly because on the minimap not a lot is going on the right flank yet. Lots of HGMs going in. Even some Weasel 122s. Gotta say, I don't see these on the battlefield very often. At least I never use them because they always run out of fuel in my situation. They have an autonomy of 200, which means that and you can see they're already starting to run out of fuel. This is pretty much as far as they'll go. You may be able to reach that forest, but then they're out of fuel. Couple of transports here, just casually sitting there. And here's the longbow. It seems to be providing some spotting capability from the rear, as the tanks are split up and pushing across this forest. But I think that Strauss 2 does not have enough reconnaissance here. Let's see, there's some Razvedkas here, spotted by BGS. I'm just casually sitting there in the open, nobody's shooting at anything. Do they have artillery? Yep, a couple of mortars are now opening up on the Razvedkas. And it seems that heavy artillery is engaging the Leopards here, which are probably very easily spotted. Yep, you can see that they're spotted by probably these Razvedkas over there. Leopard 1A5s are not really designed to take a lot of fire. You can see they've taken a lot of damage. Meanwhile, still not a lot of reconnaissance here. This BGS has to move up in order to actually do some spotting. Because right now it just cannot see anything. Mostrelki, I'm not sure what he's doing with these Mostrelki, but I think he's just going to try and run them across. Which is absolute suicide if you don't have any kind of smoke screen here. Especially with Leopard 1A5s overlooking that field. BMP 1D providing fire support, but a Grom is not really going to be that effective against the vehicles that you have to defeat here. He's doing a strafing run with an Eagle. That's curious. Tornado ECR trying to get a good lock on the Tunguska, but it's firing with his missile only, so it's not being detectable. Eagle got hit pretty bad, but now the radar is active. And they're not getting punished for it. Instead, losing both the Eagle... Actually, yeah, the Eagle got lost, but the ECR made it out alive. Heavy push going on here. Leopard 1A5 is trying to fend off the attack, but against the T-72PU and 2 PVs, he's going to have a really hard time with that. You can see his firing computer got hit. He's down at 8% accuracy. And there's not too much infantry in here. We got a couple of Panzergrenadiers, some Fliegerfausts, but there's no AA targets for them to shoot at. And some Deckungsgruppe, which got instantly destroyed. That Leopard 105 got sacrificed there. He's coming in with an Alpha Jet, trying to get some drops on the infantry here. Pretty effective. Managed to deploy a bit of napalm there. But it cost him one Alpha Jet, and the other one got pretty heavily damaged. He's also putting up a smoke screen, or a semi-smoke screen, in front of the T-72BU, so it cannot provide fire support here. What you really want to have here is a tank sniper. There are some aircraft which the German army has that can provide the fire support that you need here. Such as, I believe it's the F4... Oh god, what was that again? I forgot the name at the moment, but it's an F4 tank sniper. It carries a very, very good anti-tank missile that can pretty much wipe out this T-72BU in one go. Panzergrenadiers heavily engaged with Monstrelkis, getting shot at by T-80BVs. T-72BU seems to be just parked inside the napalm now. It's getting worried. It should be, because it's on fire. There's also a small skirmish going on here, but it's just artillery raining down on that position. The T-80BVs are not really taking the bite here, they're taking the bait. If the Panzergrenadiers could move up one building, they should be able to take care of those T-80BVs. This T-72BU is just casually cruising in. At this stage I would be pulling out my AA positions because it's too dangerous for them to stay here. Got a couple of Leopard 2A4s coming in, 4 in total, and some more infantry, really Panzergrenadiers. These Panzergrenadiers are now pushing up, but it's too little too late, and they're trying to get into cover, although I rather doubt that they're going to make it out alive. Still some fire going out. And he's still engaging the infantry, hopping from building to building. There's just too many of them. Although they have been taking a lot of damage. Transport resupply chopper went down, or I suppose I could say went up. T-72BU is getting stunned by artillery, and the mortars may actually get lucky and finish it off. And that's the last of the infantry. But there you go, the Peace Rhine, that's what I was waiting for. The Peace Rhine managed to come in and kill off the T-72BU. And meanwhile, on the left flank we can actually see the BMP-1K all the way forward in Alpha. It's a pretty far forward position. But we're not out of the woods yet here. We still have quite an aggressive enemy which is taking up position here. You can see that the other T-72BU is coming out. This thing has 22 frontal armor. Leopard 2A4s have a 19 armor penetration, which means they are not capable of going through a T-72BU at maximum range. They have to get a lot closer. But they don't have to, because the Milan 2s managed to take out the T-72BU. As the T-72BU is angled towards the Leopard, it showed its flank to the Milan 2s, which managed to put a missile right through the flank armor, killing off that tank. Very good play here with the Leopards, managing to push off, or push back and finish off this push. And I think that by now he'll have completely regained control here. Yeah, there's nothing from Red 4 left except for one reconnaissance vehicle, which is not going to last too long against two Leopards. Very, very well played, very well counter-pushed there by Pilot. Milan 2s are getting smoked as the transport is taking some fire. And look at this over on the left flank. Strauss has gained an incredible amount of terrain. He's pushing up really far with groups of riflemen, groups of Navy SEALs. Pause it here very quickly. Keep in mind, it's not that effective for 3 groups of infantry to be in one building. This is a pretty exceptional situation. They can all fire at the target, but it's not usual. A better positioning would be one group of Navy SEALs there, maybe 2 and 1 there. And that way you have a very good chance of having all of your Navy SEALs fire at the target. But with 3 grenade launchers raining death on the infantry here, Strauss is making very, very good headway into these forces here. Missiles going in from the longbow, bit of a waste on an MTLBV, which is just, I believe, a 5-point transport. And they seem to have either pulled back their CV. No, actually that this one, I think it's a BRM-1K. It just got killed off, which means that Red 4 just lost one of their resupply routes. The other one is still air and land. But if Blue 4 can get a solid hold here, and make sure they have a resupply position, or use this command Abrams to push in, the battle's pretty much over for Red 4. So, big shout out to Strauss here. He's doing a very, very good job at pushing through this western flank, as the east is being heavily defended by Pilot here. Unfortunately, Pilot lost another recon chopper there. A couple of BMPTs coming in, which is the right call, especially with the amount of infantry and vehicles that are operating here. You can see that these vehicles are being hosed down. Only using them as a sort of bullet magnet, so his infantry forces don't take that much fire. In the meanwhile, we got a bit of a push over here on the right with T-72 MIMs, or M1Ms. 18% penetration, or 18 points penetration, 15 frontal armor, against a tank that has 12 frontal armor and 15 penetration. So, the MBT-70 was pretty much bound to lose against that T-72. Meanwhile, there's not a lot of AA here, if any. So the infantry here, unfortunately for Red 4, hasn't been spotted yet, but some of the vehicles have, and the AV seems to be firing rocket pods as well as missiles at these units. Unfortunately, they're only small caliber 57mm rockets. They're not going to do that much damage. Over here on the right, I'm again going to emphasize, make sure you have your reconnaissance in order. Because again, this Kyler is going in blind. The BGS is still behind there. You need to push those guys forward, as well as have some more reconnaissance infantry there, for example. This would be a great position, so you have a sort of overlapping field of vision towards the tree line, towards possibly this town, and you can very quickly and pretty safely see anything that's going to come in. Seems that Strauss is now pulling out all the stops. Look at that. The Command Abrams has managed to capture Alpha, and now Strauss is going on the offensive massively. We got M1A1 HCs coming in, 2 M1A2s are being spawned in, as well as some Chaparrals for fire support. And I think that Red 4 at this point is pretty much going to decide, yeah, well, we're screwed. Bravo is going to fall, which is the last reinforcement position that Red 4 has. And even though these depths are probably going to go down to the Tunguska, they at least know where this command vehicle is. So they can push at it with some tanks to destroy whatever command vehicle they have here and whatever secondary command vehicle there might be. And that's going to conclude the battle, because we only got a minute left on this replay. M1A1 HC is firing on the move, killing off the Tunguska there. And Chebby surrendered. He had apparently had quite enough of the battle. Mortar VTS. Sorry, yeah, Mortar VTS 1. Not getting shot at yet, but there's still a pretty defensible position there for Red 4. M1A1 HC, one got killed off. And... oh, correction. This was his M1A1 HC that he had right from the get-go, I think. Because this one is completely out of fuel. The duo that I saw shoot down the Tunguska there is this one. Kilogram left the game. And once these M1A2s are actually in here, combined with the firepower of a longbow, this thing is completely over. Peace Ryan going to snipe the Moderna. Managed to get a hit, but the second missile did not go through. And it seems that this tank has a problem. Yeah, stabilization malfunction. Well, that's not really the the main position, the main worry of this tank right now is it just cannot go anywhere. Doesn't need stabilization of any kind. So right now the only guy we got left here is Warhawk. He's just going to slug it out, it seems, but I think that he's just going to surrender. Or that this might be the last command vehicle that's going to get shot at by an M1 and 2, die, and they have won the battle. Watch this. There you go. Last command vehicle killed off. So, very interesting match there. Very good positions put up by Pilot, although I gotta say, make sure you have your recon. You simply did not have enough reconnaissance positions in this line that you had set up. Which means that it was pretty damn easy for the enemy to start spotting your stuff without being able to see what was shooting at you. So make sure that you have a lot of reconnaissance next time, and don't rely too heavily on your recon choppers, because they got shot down a lot this game. Again, big shout out to Strauss, he did a fantastic job here, pushing over, I think, one player on the left flank, and he just made a lot of headway. So this 2v3 was definitely won by Blue 4. Very, very well played, and you can see that, of course, Strauss' kill-death ratio is very, very good. So, I hope you liked watching that replay. I definitely found it exciting. If you did too, please give it a like. If you want me to have a look at your gameplay, make sure it's exciting, and you can send it in through the link that's in the description down below. If you want to help me continue on with this channel, consider becoming a patron of it, and a link to that's in the description down below as well. Hope you're enjoying it. If you have a question on Wargame, feel free to ask me or have a look at one of the guides if you're a newer player. Because Wargame can be a pretty tough game to get into, and I have a lot of videos put up out there to help you get better at it. Okay, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next video.